Chosen one, stop. Whatever you're doing right now, stop. Put it down. Because what I'm about to say is not background noise. This is not a video you stumbled onto. You were brought here, and there's a difference. Something happened this morning. Maybe it was quiet. Maybe nobody saw it. Maybe you barely noticed it yourself. You didn't shout it from a rooftop. You didn't post it. You didn't even call it faith. You just held on. One more time. In the dark, alone. But I need you to hear this right now, and I need you to hear it slowly. Heaven noticed. Not in the way people say it to make you feel better. Not as a comfort phrase. I mean, something specific happened in the unseen the moment you made that quiet choice this morning. A control room lit up. A GPS whispered recalculating. A courtroom that had been moving toward a verdict paused because one sentence changed everything. A river shifted direction because a single stone entered the current. That stone was you, this morning. And right now, you're sitting with fatigue you cannot fully explain. A loneliness that lives underneath your smile. A confusion that no one around you seems to feel. A fear, quiet, persistent, that nothing ever actually changes. You've been faithful for so long, in silence, unseen, and somewhere deep inside you is this fragile, dangerous, holy question you're almost afraid to ask. Was today different? I'm telling you yes. What you did this morning wasn't just a good choice, it was a turning point. It may have altered the route of everything coming next, and you can't see it yet, but something has already begun moving in a direction you haven't been shown. If something in your spirit has felt different since this morning, if there's a stirring you can't name, type right now in the comments, heaven noticed. Say it before the explanation arrives. Because your spirit already knows what your mind is still catching up to. You thought you were just holding yourself together. Heaven read it as agreement. And now, something has already begun. I want to ask you something personal. And I need you to answer it honestly, not out loud, just inside yourself, where the truth actually lives. This morning, when you first opened your eyes, what was the first thing you felt? Not what you thought, not what you planned, what you felt. Was it that familiar weight, that heaviness that settles in your chest before you even remember why it's there? That quiet ache that has no single name because it's made of too many things, grief and uncertainty, and the particular loneliness that comes from carrying a life full of history that most people around you will never fully stokiv. Understand? Maybe you woke up alone, again, in a bed that still feels too wide, in a house that still holds the echo of someone who isn't there anymore. Maybe you woke up to a phone that didn't ring, children who are distant, grandchildren you love deeply but rarely see, a relationship that broke somewhere along the way and never fully healed, and you stopped explaining it to people because the explanation costs more than you have left to spend. Maybe you woke up to a body that reminded you again that it is carrying decades of story in its bones, that the energy you once had doesn't arrive the way it used to, that some mornings just standing up is an act of courage that nobody applauds, and yet you got up. You didn't announce it, you didn't record it, you didn't dress it up in the language of faith. You simply rose. One more time, into another day that hadn't yet proven it deserved your presence. That was the first choice, but something else happened too. Maybe you felt the anger rise at a person, at a situation, at a memory that keeps coming back dressed in new clothes, and you chose not to call, not to send that message, not to let the fire out. You held it, you breathed, you chose peace when every old pattern in you was reaching for control. Maybe you prayed, not because it felt powerful, not because the words came easy, but because something in you, something tired and faithful and ancient, still believed there was a reason to speak into the silence. Even when the silence didn't answer back, maybe you chose not to give up. Again. For the 10,000th time. Not dramatically, just quietly. In the privacy of your own soul, you said, "Not today. I'm not done yet. Chosen one, I need you to hear this." That did not need to look dramatic to be spiritually massive. Proverbs 4:18 says the path of the righteous is like the first gleam of dawn, shining brighter and brighter until full day. Not an explosion, a gleam, a quiet, persistent, building light. Heaven is not impressed by performance. Heaven is moved by alignment. And this morning, in the quiet of your ordinary life, you aligned. Think about this. A pilot flying from New York to London makes one single degree of correction early in the flight, and that 1 degree determines whether the plane lands in the right city or misses the continent entirely. 1 degree. Invisible from the ground, massive in its consequence. That is what your quiet choice did this morning. You turned the lock barely, with a trembling hand, and on the other side of that lock is a vault you haven't seen yet. You struck one match in a dark house. You don't know yet how many rooms that light is about to reach. You cast one vote, and that vote, that quiet, unseen, costly vote, may have just changed the outcome of everything that comes next. But here is the question I need to leave open right now, because the answer is going to change the way you see yourself entirely. Why does this kind of choice, especially from someone like you, trigger heaven differently? Why does it carry more weight than a loud declaration from someone younger, someone more visible, someone with an easier story? I'm not going to answer that yet, because the answer is bigger than a sentence. It requires you to understand something about who you actually are in the divine equation, something most churches have never taught you directly. But I want you to feel the question sitting in your chest. Let it stay there, because what's coming next is going to give it a name. Right now, if you made a quiet choice this morning, one that cost you something real, one that nobody around you noticed or understood, type in the comments, "It cost me something," because it did, and heaven kept the receipt. Your choice this morning was not small because it looked small. It was not insignificant because no one witnessed it. The reason this mattered, the reason heaven responded the way it did, is not simply because of what you did. It is because of who made the choice, and that is everything. Now, I need to ask you something, and I need you to answer it honestly, not out loud, just inside yourself, where the real answers live. When was the last time you felt like what you did actually mattered? Not to your family, not to your church, not to anyone who would put your name on a list somewhere, to God. When was the last time you genuinely believed that the quiet, private, unseen thing, you chose the thing that cost you something and earned you nothing visible? When was the last time you believed that moved anything? Because here is the lie that has been sitting in the room with you for years, maybe decades. The lie that says your moment has passed, that the best of what God had for you already happened, that you are too tired, too old, too worn down by the weight of everything you have carried to still be useful in the divine equation. That lie sounds like wisdom. It sounds like humility. But it is not either of those things. It is a strategy, and it has been working against you long enough. Let me show you something from Scripture that most people walk right past. There was a widow. She had 1 jar of oil, just one. Not a stockpile, not a reserve. 1 jar and a debt that was about to cost her everything. She had nothing left by any human measurement, and God multiplied what she had until every vessel in her house was full. He did not wait for her to have more. He responded to what she brought, small, sincere, and costly. That is the principle. Heaven does not respond to size. Heaven responds to alignment, to cost, and to sincerity. The mustard seed is not powerful because it is large. It is powerful because it is real, because it is planted, because something surrendered its shell to become what it was always designed to be. And the loaves, the fish, 5 loaves and 2 fish in the hands of a boy, laughably insufficient by every practical measure, but placed in the right hands at the right moment by someone who gave what they actually had, and 5,000 people were fed with 12 baskets left over. Chosen one, hear this slowly. Little in human hands becomes limitless in divine hands, but only when it is offered, only when the choice is made to give what you have instead of waiting until you have something impressive. Now think about Esther. She did not walk into the king's court with an army behind her. She did not arrive with leverage or political power or a guaranteed outcome. She walked in with one thing, a decision made in the quiet, at great personal cost, with no promise of survival. She said simply, "If I perish, I perish." And that one sentence, born from years of hidden preparation, from seasons of silence inside palace walls that looked like nothing from the outside, that one sentence saved an entire nation. You want to know what those silent years were doing? They were not wasting her. They were weighting her. Every year added depth. Every season of hiddenness added precision. Every moment of endurance built capacity she did not even know she was building, until the morning it was needed, and she had exactly enough. Can I speak directly to you now, not to a general audience, to you specifically? You have been through winters that other people never saw. You have held ground in rooms where nobody applauded. You have gotten back up in the dark so many times that you stopped counting. You have buried losses. You have outlasted storms. You have kept praying when the ceiling felt like concrete. The world looks at age and thinks decline. Heaven looks at age and recognizes weight. Every year God kept you standing was not wasted time. It was loading you, like pressure loading a diamond, like decades of root growth before the tree breaks through the surface, like a seed that has been under winter ground so long that the ground above it has forgotten something is alive underneath, but the root never forgot. And this morning, your small, quiet, unseen act of faith, it carried the force of every single year God kept you in this life. That is not poetry. That is the mechanism. That is why heaven moved. Not because what you did was grand, because what you did was real, and because it came from someone whose years had given it a weight that a younger faith simply does not yet carry. If you are listening right now at an age where the world has told you your biggest days are behind you, type in the comments right now, "I am still in God's timing." Type it, because your spirit needs to hear your own agreement. The world sees your age and calls it a closing chapter. Heaven sees your years and calls it a fully loaded weapon. What you did this morning did not come from nowhere. It came from every year you survived, every morning you chose to stay faithful, every season you endured without a single standing ovation, and heaven felt the full weight of all of it. So now the question is no longer whether heaven noticed. The question is, what exactly did heaven start doing the moment it did? I need you to understand something that nobody has ever taught you clearly. And once you hear it, you will never read your life the same way again. Most people believe God has one rigid plan, one fixed road, one narrow path written in stone before you were born. And if you missed a turn, if you waited too long, if life knocked you sideways, that plan is broken. That window is closed. That version of your story is gone forever. That belief has stolen more destiny than any devil ever could, because that is not how heaven works. God is not sitting on his throne in panic right now. He is not improvising because something slipped through his fingers. He is not disappointed, scrambling, trying to recover from your detours. He is recalibrating. And there is a universe of difference between those two things. Think about a GPS. You know this feeling. You are driving, you miss the turn, and for 1 second you brace yourself waiting for the system to fail, waiting for it to shut down and tell you you're on your own now. But it doesn't. It says one word: recalculating, not with panic, not with judgment, with quiet, precise, immediate intelligence. It takes your real location, not where you were supposed to be, not where you planned to be, not the version of you from 10 years ago. It takes exactly where you are standing right now, and it builds the most direct route to the destination from there. That is what heaven did this morning. Chosen one, listen to me carefully. The destination has never changed. God's intention over your life has never wavered. But the root is alive. It breathes, it bends, it responds. Scripture says it in Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a future and a hope. He knows the plans. But knowing the plans doesn't mean the road is frozen. It means the destination is guaranteed. And this morning, when you chose faith instead of fear, when you held on instead of letting go, heaven received that signal, like a military command center, receiving live intelligence from the field. Resources already moving in one direction suddenly received new orders. Doors already drifting closed paused on their hinges. People in their own separate lives, miles away from you, suddenly had an unexplained thought about you. A timeline somewhere compressed. An opportunity that was 4 days from expiring stayed open. You didn't see any of it, but it happened. Think of an orchestra in the middle of a performance, every instrument locked into the score, and then from somewhere unexpected a hidden instrument enters, one that wasn't in the original arrangement. And instead of chaos, the conductor doesn't stop the music. He adjusts the tempo. He brings every other instrument into alignment with this new sound. And suddenly the piece is fuller, richer, more beautiful than the version that existed before that instrument entered. Your faith this morning was that instrument. And heaven adjusted everything else to make room for it. Now let me ask you something directly, and I need you to answer this honestly, not out loud, but somewhere deep inside where only you and God can hear. How long have you been living as if the best version of your story already passed you by? How many mornings have you woken up carrying the quiet weight of a life that feels like it's running behind schedule? Like everyone else received the memo and somehow yours got lost. Like you've been faithful, you've been patient, you've been showing up, and the ceiling still hasn't moved. That feeling is real. But the story it's been telling you is a lie. Because here is what you were never told. Heaven is not working from the version of you that existed 10 years ago. Heaven is not measuring you against the plan that was interrupted. Heaven is not calculating from your lowest moment or your longest delay. Heaven is responding to the one who chose faith this morning, that person, right now, exactly where you are. The riverbed is redirecting. The command center is redeploying. The orchestra is shifting tempo. And it all began with one quiet, unseen, unremarkable act of trust that you almost didn't count because it felt too small to matter. Romans 8:28 says, "All things work together for good to them that love God." Not some things, not the convenient things, not the moments that made sense. All things, every detour included, every silence included, every year that looked like nothing was happening included. God doesn't waste a single mile of your journey. He recalibrates around it. If you believe right now, in this moment, that God still knows how to find you exactly where you are, not where you were supposed to be, not where you wish you were, but where you actually are today. Type in the comments right now, "Recalibrate me, Lord." Say it, because that declaration is not just words. It is your frequency rising, and heaven is already tuned to receive it. You have been waiting for God to show up in something dramatic, something undeniable, something that would finally silence every doubt that has been living quietly in your chest. But what if the dramatic moment already happened this morning and you just didn't have the language for it yet? That language is coming, and what you're about to hear next will change everything you thought you knew about why the waiting was never what it looked like. Let me tell you what most people never get told. When heaven moves, it doesn't announce itself. It doesn't send a notification. It doesn't light up your phone. It doesn't tap you on the shoulder and say, "Hey, something just shifted in your favor." It moves quietly, precisely. Like a master chess player who already sees 20 moves ahead, sliding pieces into position while you're still staring at the board, wondering why nothing looks different. But chosen one, the pieces are already moving. Right now, while you are sitting exactly where you are. Here's what rerouting actually looks like in real life. Somewhere today, a person who hadn't thought about you in months suddenly did. They don't know why. They picked up their phone. Maybe they put it back down. Maybe they didn't. Somewhere today, a door that was 3 days from closing paused. Not dramatically, just paused. like a breath held by invisible hands. Somewhere today, a conversation that was supposed to happen without you got delayed, rescheduled, pushed back, because you needed to be in that room, and heaven knew it, even when you didn't. Somewhere today, an answer that you've been begging God to drop from the sky is coming through a route you never would have predicted. Not the front door, the side entrance. The one you walked past 100 times without noticing. That is rerouting. Not magic, not coincidence, divine precision. Proverbs 16:9 says it plainly. A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Not some of his steps, not the big dramatic ones. Every single step. Which means right now, your steps are being directed towards something your eyes haven't seen yet. Your steps are already inside an answer that hasn't fully materialized yet. You are not walking toward the breakthrough. You are walking inside it, and you don't even know it yet. Now I want to speak directly to some of you because this section is for you specifically. You've been waiting on a phone call from your child, a relationship that went cold and quiet and you don't know how to fix it from your end. You've tried, you've prayed, you've cried alone in rooms where nobody could see you. Heaven has not missed one of those tears, because Psalm 56:8 says, God collects every single one. He bottles them, he records them. Not one has fallen to the ground unnoticed. And the call you've been waiting for, the reconciliation you stopped believing was possible, may come from a direction you stopped watching. Because that's how rerouting works. It doesn't come back the way it left. Some of you are sitting with a medical report that shook the ground beneath your feet, and you've been carrying it quietly, showing up to church, smiling at your grandchildren, holding it together on the outside while something inside you is terrified. Hear me right now. Heaven has not signed off on that report as the final word. Doctors operate in the natural. God operates in dimensions that medicine hasn't named yet. The rerouting may already be happening in your body, in the unseen, before the next appointment, before the next scan. And some of you, you've watched resources dry up in ways that humiliated you, ways you never expected at this stage of your life. You worked hard, you were faithful, and somehow you still ended up in a place of lack that makes no sense given everything you've given. Heaven is rerouting provision through channels that don't look like provision yet. A conversation that seems unrelated. A connection that seems accidental. A door that looks like it's for someone else with your name written on the back of it. Think about train tracks switching in the dark. You can't see the switch happening from inside the train. You just feel a subtle shift in direction, and miles later you arrive somewhere completely different than where the original track was headed. That subtle shift already happened this morning. You felt it. That's why you're here. Think about air traffic control changing a runway assignment. The pilot doesn't question it. He trusts that the voice in the tower can see what he cannot see from the cockpit. He adjusts. He lands safely on a runway he never expected to use. You are the plane, chosen one, and the voice in the tower has already changed your runway. The question is not whether heaven is moving. The question is, will you trust the recalculation before you can see the new route? Because faith was never meant to be a response to evidence. Faith is the evidence. Hebrews 11:1 says it exactly that way. Faith is the substance of things not yet seen. You don't need to see the rerouting to stand inside it. If you need God to move something, you absolutely cannot move by force. Something that is beyond your reach, beyond your strength, beyond your ability to fix with any phone call or any amount of effort. Type in the comments right now. Reroute what I cannot fix. That is not just a comment, that is a declaration. And declarations have weight in the unseen. You are not waiting on a still heaven. You are standing inside a moving answer. And rerouting is only the first thing heaven does. Because after heaven reroutes, it accelerates. And what I'm about to show you next will change the way you understand every delay you've ever endured. Now I need to ask you something, and I need you to answer it honestly, not out loud, but somewhere deep inside. where you don't perform for anyone. How long have you been waiting? Not days, not weeks. I mean the kind of waiting that has a weight to it, the kind that shows up in your face when you think nobody's watching, the kind that whispers in the quiet hours of the night. Lord, am I too late? Maybe you whispered it this morning. Maybe you've whispered it for years. Here is what the enemy has been using against you, and I need you to hear this clearly. He took your timeline, and he turned it into a weapon. Every birthday that passed without the breakthrough, every prayer that seemed to dissolve into silence, every person around you who moved forward while you stayed in the same place, carrying the same burden, fighting the same battle, wondering the same question. Did I miss it? Is it too late? Has God moved on without me? That grief is real. I am not going to minimize it, but I am going to dismantle it. Because here is what nobody told you about the way God works with time. He doesn't move on your calendar. He moves on a harvest schedule. And a farmer doesn't panic in November because the seed he buried in April hasn't appeared yet. He knows something you can't see from the surface. Underground, in the dark, in the silence, everything is happening. The seed is not dead. The seed is becoming. And when the season shifts, it doesn't ease up slowly. It breaks open, suddenly, all at once. Like a dam that held pressure for years, releasing in a single moment. That is not luck. That is how God designed the harvest. Look at Joseph, 17 years old when God gave him the dream, sold into slavery by his own brothers, thrown into prison for something he didn't do, forgotten by the man he helped. 13 years in the pit, 13 years of silence. And then in a single day, prison to palace, not a slow climb, not a gradual promotion. One day, prisoner, in the morning. Second in command, over all of Egypt by evening. You call that a coincidence? That was compression. That was God taking 13 years of formation and releasing it in 24 hours. Look at Moses, 80 years old, standing in a desert talking to a burning bush. His name had been chiseled off the monuments. To Egypt, he no longer existed. 80 years old, and his greatest assignment hadn't even started yet. You think you're too late? Moses hadn't begun. Look at Sarah, 90 years old, a womb that biology had declared finished. And God said now, not someday, not almost, now. She laughed, because from where she was standing, it was impossible. But God wasn't working from where she was standing. He was working from a promise he made before she was born. And Caleb, 85 years old, standing at the edge of a mountain that younger men were afraid to climb. And he didn't whisper, he didn't apologize for his age. He stood up and declared, "Give me this mountain, not give me rest, not give me something smaller. Give me the hardest thing, because I am still here. And everything God promised, I am ready to carry it now. Chosen one." Do you understand what I'm telling you? Your long years were not wasted seasons. They were weight, pressure building behind the dam. A spring being compressed, a harvest growing underground where no one could see it and no one could steal it. You call it late. Heaven calls it wait. You call it delay. Heaven calls it ripeness. Read that again, slowly. Let it go somewhere deeper than your mind. You have been interpreting your waiting as evidence that God forgot you. But what if your waiting was evidence that God was protecting what he was building? What if the silence was not absence but architecture? What if every year you held on, every morning you chose faith when everything said quit? Anna waited in the temple for 84 years, fasting, praying, faithful in a season that looked to everyone watching like a life that had passed her by. And then one morning, a young couple walked through the doors carrying a baby. And Anna, 84 years old, recognized what every scholar in Israel had missed. She didn't miss her moment. She was ready for it. Because the waiting had formed something in her that could not have been formed any other way. Your waiting formed something in you too. Something that could not have been built in comfort. Something that could not have been rushed. Something that will only make sense when the door finally opens and you realize I needed every single one of those years to be able to carry what's on the other side. If you have ever whispered, Lord, am I too late? Type this right now in the comments. Redeem my timing. Declare it. Because that prayer has weight and heaven is listening. But here is what I haven't told you yet. When time compresses, when the dam breaks and the harvest comes, God doesn't just accelerate your circumstances. He begins revealing things, clarity you couldn't access before, knowing that arrives without explanation, a quiet intelligence that starts guiding your steps with a precision that has nothing to do with your own understanding. And that is what we need to talk about next. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you, nobody warned you was coming. You've been waiting for the big sign, the dramatic moment, the thunder, the burning bush. You've been scanning the horizon, looking for proof that God is still moving in your life. But chosen one, what if the proof was already inside you? What if the recalibration didn't start out there? It started in here. Let me ask you something direct. Have you noticed lately that you don't feel the need to explain yourself anymore? That arguments that used to pull you in now leave you strangely unmoved? That certain relationships, ones you held onto for years, suddenly feel like they belong to a version of you that no longer exists? That's not you getting cold. That's not you giving up. That is spiritual sight being restored. And most people miss it completely because they're still looking for the thunder. Proverbs 4:18 says it plainly. The path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. Not a lightning bolt, not an explosion. Morning light, gradual, quiet, undeniable. That's what's happening inside you right now. The fog is lifting off the bridge, not all at once, but enough. Enough to see one step further than you could yesterday. Enough to know that the road ahead is different from the road behind. Here's what I need you to sit with. There are specific signs that heaven is recalibrating you from the inside, and I want you to hold each one up against your own life like a mirror. The first sign, old fears are losing their authority over you. Things that used to paralyze you don't grip the same way anymore. You don't know exactly when it shifted. It just did. The second sign, you have an unusual calm about a problem that should be consuming you. Logic says you should be falling apart, but something underneath the surface is holding steady. That's not denial. That is the peace that Philippians 4:7 calls surpassing all understanding. The third sign, scripture is hitting you differently. Verses you've read 100 times are landing in places they never reached before. That's not coincidence. That's God unlocking rooms inside you that were sealed until now. The fourth sign, your discernment is sharper. You sense things before they're spoken. You recognize what's real and what's performance. You feel misalignment in rooms before anyone names it. That gift was always in you. It's just now fully awake. And the fifth sign, and this one will stop you cold if you're honest. You sense that something is ending and something is beginning, and you can't fully explain it to anyone around you. You just know. Chosen one, that knowing is not anxiety. That is a prophet's perception waking up in an ordinary life. Now let me tell you what revelation actually is, because the church rarely teaches this correctly. Revelation is not always thunder. Sometimes revelation is the disappearance of confusion. Sometimes it's a changed appetite. You no longer hunger for what used to satisfy you. You no longer chase what once felt urgent. Old ambitions feel hollow. Old wounds feel smaller. Old distractions feel like what they always were, distractions. That's the radio dial finally locking into signal after years of static. That's cataracts being removed from spiritual sight. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? Do you not perceive it?" God isn't asking if you can see the miracle. He's asking, can you perceive it? Can you recognize it in the subtle, in the quiet, in the internal shift that didn't announce itself? Because here's the shocking truth most people never consider. The hidden years weren't wasted years. They were calibration years. Every season of silence, every unanswered prayer, Every night you held on without confirmation. Those weren't delays in God's plan. They were the formation of the very eyes you're now seeing with. You couldn't see from this place 5 years ago. You weren't built for this altitude yet. But you are now. And that is exactly why everything looks different from here. The pain didn't destroy your vision. The pain sharpened it. Every loss cleared something out of the way. Every betrayal removed a blindfold you didn't even know you were wearing. Every silent season stripped away the noise until all that was left was signal, pure, direct, undeniable. If God has been quietly changing what you can tolerate, what you desire, and what you recognize, type right now in the comments. Open my eyes fully, not as a request, as a declaration. Because the eyes are already opening. You're just giving it a name. The proof that heaven is recalibrating is not only around you, it is inside you. You are beginning to see from a higher place than the pain that raised you. And now that your eyes are open, the question that has been waiting underneath everything finally surfaces. If all those hidden years were building toward something, what exactly were they building toward? What is it that heaven has been quietly preparing you to carry? That answer is coming, and it will change everything. Can I ask you something personal? How many years have you been carrying something that nobody ever acknowledged? Not a small thing, a heavy thing, the kind of weight that doesn't show up on your face anymore because you learned a long time ago how to wear peace like a coat over pain. Maybe you buried a spouse and kept showing up to church the very next Sunday because you didn't know what else to do with yourself. Maybe you raised children who walked away from everything you poured into them. Maybe you've sat in the same faithful pew for 30 years and watched younger people get recognized, promoted, celebrated, while heaven seemed to stay completely silent about you. Maybe the financial pressure never fully lifted. Maybe the health battle became your permanent address. Maybe you spent decades caring for everyone around you, children, grandchildren, aging parents, and somewhere in the middle of all that giving, you quietly forgot what it felt like to be cared for yourself. And the question you've never said out loud, the one living in the basement of your faith, is this: was any of it worth it? Did God see any of it? Or was I just forgotten? I need you to stay right here with me, because what I'm about to say is not a comfort phrase. It is a theological fact written into the bones of Scripture. God does not waste decades. He builds with them. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness. 40 years. Not 40 days. 40 years of silence, of obscurity, of tending sheep in the middle of nowhere, while his calling sat unopened. The world forgot him. Egypt erased his name from the monuments, literally chiseled it out of stone. And yet every single one of those wilderness years was building something in Moses that the palace never could. Restraint, humility, the ability to carry millions without being destroyed by the weight. You cannot lead a nation out of bondage if you've never learned how to survive the silence. Joseph sat in prison for years after doing everything right. He interpreted a dream for a man who promised to help him, and that man went home and forgot him completely. 2 more years of darkness on top of a decade of suffering. And yet the prison was not punishment. The prison was the final formation of a man who would one day hold the food supply of 2 nations in his hands, without corruption, without revenge, without arrogance. You cannot be trusted with that kind of power unless suffering already taught you what power is not for. David wrote his greatest psalms from caves. Anna prayed in the temple for decades, a widow, unseen, unrewarded by human eyes, until the morning she became the first person to publicly declare the identity of the Messiah. Elijah, the most powerful prophet in Israel's history, spent his most critical season completely hidden, fed by ravens, invisible to everyone except God. Do you see the pattern? The people heaven trusted most were the ones nobody saw coming. There is an ancient process for making olive oil. You cannot simply pick the olive and pour. The olive must be crushed, pressed under weight so heavy it feels like destruction. And it is only in that crushing, only under that unbearable pressure, that the oil is released. The oil was always inside. The crushing didn't create it. The crushing revealed it. Chosen one, your years of pressure were not God's absence. They were God's press. Iron is not strengthened by comfort. It is strengthened in the forge, heated until it glows, hammered until it holds its shape under force. Wine does not become what it's meant to be in a week. It ages in hidden barrels, in the dark, untouched by impatient hands, until the appointed time of opening. And when a great temple is being built, the stones are not cut on sight. They are shaped in a quarry far away, in silence, out of sight. And when the day of assembly comes, every stone fits perfectly. Not because the cutting was easy, because the cutting was precise. You have been in the quarry, and the temple is almost ready for assembly. If you have lived through years that nobody but God truly understands, years that looked like loss but felt like preparation, type in the comments right now, none of it was wasted. Say it, because your spirit needs to hear your own agreement with heaven's record of your life. Those years did not disqualify you. They authored you. The silence did not erase you. It formed the version of you heaven could trust with what comes next. Every buried grief became compassion. Every financial pressure became discernment. Every invisible act of faithfulness became authority. The kind that doesn't need applause, because it was never built on applause. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not the cautionary tale. You are the stone that was being cut in the quarry while the world wasn't watching. And right now, heaven is beginning to position you, which means one question remains. If those hidden years were building something in you, what exactly were they building you for? What is the assignment that required this specific kind of formation? That answer is coming, and it is going to change how you see everything that happened to you. I need to stop here. Before we go any further, I need to say something that most people sitting in church pews for 40 years have never been told directly, and I'm going to say it plainly, because you deserve the truth, not a comfortable version of it. You have spent years, maybe decades, believing that God wrote a perfect script before you were born, that somewhere up in heaven there is a finished blueprint with your name on it, and your entire job in this life has been to find it, to locate yourself inside it, to not mess it up. And here is what that belief quietly did to you. It made you feel like a late arrival to your own story. It made every detour feel like failure, every delay feel like disqualification, every quiet season feel like evidence that you somehow missed the door that had your name on it. And the enemy, he never had to attack you directly. He just let that belief do the work for him. But chosen one, that is not what Scripture actually shows us. Look at Joseph. God did not write Egypt's salvation story first and then search for someone to fill the role. Joseph's obedience in the pit, in the prison, in the silence, that obedience became the architecture of the whole plan. The plan formed around him, through him, because of him. Look at Esther. Mordecai said it plainly in Esther 4:14. Who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this? He didn't say, here is the script, find your line. He said your presence, your position, your yes, this is why the moment exists at all. Look at Moses. 80 years old, 40 years of silence in the desert. By every human measure, disqualified, forgotten, too late. And yet the burning bush didn't say, I found a backup plan. It said, I have come down, I have heard, I have seen, and I am sending you. The plan didn't exist without Moses saying yes. Do you understand what I'm telling you? You are not an afterthought in God's purpose. You are not a replaceable extra in this story. You are not someone standing on the outside of heaven's blueprint, pressing your face against the glass, hoping to catch a glimpse of where you fit. You are the cornerstone around which the architecture was formed. History has bent around a single yes before. And your yes, the quiet one you gave this morning, when nobody was watching, when nothing was confirmed, when faith cost you something real, that yes is the kind. Heaven has always moved around. This is what covenant means, not a contract, not a performance review, a living, breathing, relational agreement between God and a person he formed with full intention. Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Not before you were born, I wrote instructions for you. Before I formed you, I knew you. That is not a plan looking for a person. That is a father who built the assignment around the child he already loved. And this is where I need you to feel something, not just hear it. You are a seer. You perceive things others around you cannot name. That quiet knowing this morning, before any evidence confirmed it, that was not wishful thinking. That was your gift operating exactly as it was designed. You are a light bearer. Every room you walked into today was different because you were in it. Not because you announced anything, because you carried something. You are a spiritual warrior, not loud, not decorated, but you have held ground under pressure that would have broken people half your age, and something in the unseen has had to reassess its strategy against you every single time. You are a voice. There are words forming in you right now that other people have been waiting their entire lives to hear. Words they couldn't put together for themselves. You are a cycle breaker. What ended with you this morning, that pattern, that fear, that old response, it does not pass forward. The ones who come after you begin from a different place. That is a generation changed. You are an elder with oil, and oil does not accumulate in a single day. It takes years of pressing, years of silence, years of faithfulness in the hidden place. Every year you thought was wasted was the pressing. So I'm asking you directly, how long are you going to live like an afterthought in a story you were always meant to anchor? If you are ready right now to stop shrinking from the size of what God actually formed you to carry, type in the comments, "My yes still matters." Not because you feel it yet, but because you are choosing to stand in it before the feeling arrives. You were never just trying to find God's plan from the outside. You have always been someone God intended to shape his work through. That is why this morning mattered. That is why heaven moved. And what comes next in this message is going to show you exactly what heaven does after it moves. Go back to this morning. Close your eyes for just 1 second and go back there. Not to analyze it, not to measure it, just to see it again clearly for what it actually was. You were tired. Maybe you'd been tired for weeks, maybe longer, and something in you wanted to quit, wanted to react, wanted to let the weight win just this once. And you didn't. You chose differently. And I need you to understand that moment was not small. That moment was not invisible. That moment was a stone dropped into eternity, and the ripples have not stopped moving. Scripture says in Isaiah 46:10, God declares the end from the beginning, which means before you made that choice this morning, he already saw it. He already built around it. He already began moving things in the unseen that your natural eyes have no access to yet. Here is what heaven has already begun on your behalf. Rerouting the people, the doors, the conversations that were flowing in another direction. They are bending toward you now, not randomly, precisely. The way a river doesn't ask permission to find its course, it just moves, accelerating. What you thought was 5 years away may now be 5 months away. You cannot see the compression from inside it, but the timeline has already shifted. Joseph went from prison to palace in a single afternoon, not because he finally earned it, because the appointed hour arrived and heaven was ready, revealing. Clarity is coming to decisions you've been wrestling with for months. Not thunder, not dramatic visions, just a quiet knowing that settles steady, certain, undeniable. That is heaven leaking intelligence towards someone operating on the right frequency. And something else is happening too, something nobody talks about enough. The old fear patterns are breaking, the ones you inherited, the ones that ran in your family long before they reached you, the ones that told you it was safer not to hope, smarter not to expect, wiser to keep your wanting close to the ground so the fall wouldn't be as far. Those patterns are fracturing right now because you chose faith instead. And what you refuse to carry forward, the next generation does not inherit. That is not a small thing. That is a bloodline changed. Now, I need to speak directly to you, and I need you to receive this, not analyze it, not measure whether you deserve it. Just receive it. You are not too late. I don't care what the calendar says. I don't care what the mirror shows you. Abraham was 75 years old when God said now. Moses was 80 when heaven said go. Anna was 84 years old, praying in the temple, and scripture says she never left. She was still there, still faithful, still expecting. And she was the one chosen to recognize the Messiah when he arrived. Your age is not a disqualifier, it is a credential. You are not unseen. Every silent morning of faithfulness has been recorded. Not one has been missed. Not one tear fell to the ground unnoticed. Psalm 56:2-8 says God collects every single one. Yours included. You are not finished. You are still entrusted. You are still sent. You are still part of what God is building, and the chapter opening right now in your life is not the closing chapter. It is the one the earlier chapters were preparing you for. Here is what I want you to do when this video ends. Sit in silence for 3 minutes. No phone, no noise, just you and what was awakened here. Then take a pen and write down the choice you made this morning. Name it, give it words, make it real on paper. Write one sentence beneath it. What do you feel God is rerouting? Not what you think the answer should be. What do you actually feel? Then call back the part of yourself that went quiet. You know the part I mean. The part that used to believe without requiring so much evidence first. Call it back. It hasn't left. It's been waiting for exactly this moment. And then pray this simple, honest, from wherever you're sitting right now. Lord, seal what was awakened in me today. Reroute what must move. Accelerate what is ripe. Reveal what has been hidden. Strengthen me, because I thought I was almost finished, but I am hearing something different now. Let this morning mark the turning. I am still here. I am still yours, and I am ready. Amen. If this message has marked something real inside you, write in the comments right now. This morning marked me, not because it's a phrase, because it's a declaration. And declarations carry weight in the unseen. And if someone comes to mind, someone who has been quietly faithful, quietly carrying, quietly wondering if heaven has forgotten them, send this to them today, not tomorrow, today. Because they made a choice this morning too, and they need to know what it meant. You thought you were just surviving another morning. Heaven read it as consent. And now the road ahead will not unfold the way it would have if you had chosen fear. This morning mattered. You mattered. Heaven is recalibrating. And the best of what God has written over your life, chosen one, it hasn't happened yet.